so many people I talk to want to start their own YouTube channels, and I'm the same, right? So for a long time, I've been thinking about doing YouTube, thinking about doing content, and this is finally how I'm going to make it happen. And so in this video, I'm going to talk to a friend of mine, Kunal, who, has gone through that journey, and he's probably a few steps ahead of me. And so we're going to talk about why doing video is important and, what type of content we can create, but more importantly, the how is, how do we just take that next step? So hopefully this is helpful for you guys as well. And yeah, hope you enjoy the interview. Kunal Bhusare, how you going?
Hey, Hassan, nice to see you again, and thank you so much for having me. Very interesting topic to discuss.
Amazing, awesome. Yeah, super excited, and thank you for volunteering to come on as my first guest. And also, I mean, the reason I'm in talking to Kunal today is because this is actually some advice he gave me over the weekend is actually what prompted me to start this. So we'll explore that, I'm sure. But hey, Kunal, I know you pretty well. But for those who don't know you, could you give us a little introduction of who is Kunal? And yeah, we'll go from there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kunal Bhusare. I'm a serial founder. I keep building products and starting businesses. I have a day job. I'm the chief product officer at a startup called as Tex, and on the sides, I've been building my own startup called as Kiki Prep, where I help students prepare for their HSC exams using AI in WhatsApp. Uh, Before this, I've ran my own software development agency from India, a bit in Australia, and that has been my journey. I've also been a student of creating content for a while, and I think that's why Hassan invited me here. So I think we'll learn and explore together.
Yes, absolutely. I think you're being modest. I think you didn't talk about your content experience so far, but maybe we'll unpack that. But yes, so for me, Kunal is like the tech go-to. He's one of those guys that if I have a tech question, particularly around AI, I know that I can ask Kunal and I'll get a pretty good answer. So I want to try and explore that as well a little bit later on. So I think, the framework I had in mind was we can begin with why, right? So start with the why in terms of why content is important for business owners. So I guess if you could share from your own experience how you found content has helped business owners and why you think it's an important thing. Because at the end of the day, there's a cost. There's a cost of time, there's a cost of effort. And so not having a clear why can sort of prevent us from taking action. So could you share some insights around that?
For me, the why of content creation is about brand building. How do you present your own self to as large an audience as possible? And basically, we are here to tell stories, right? As a software, as a business, as a person, as an entrepreneur, we are basically trying to tell a story which other people should buy. And creating content is one vehicle to actually do that, where you get brand recognition, you get name recognition. People are able to identify you even if you have never met them. And then when you have something to tell them about, for example, your own startup, your business, they will be much more open to hearing about that because they have seen you before. So for me, content creation starts with telling your own story first.
Amazing. This idea of people buy from those who they know, like, and trust. And so this is
Exactly.
what I'm hearing a lot of. And so this is where the videos help. So I guess the different types of content, could you sort of talk about whether you think video is a good idea? And if not, like, why not? But I assume that video is a good idea. And so just speak to us about, why that is compared to the other things, the best sort of format.
Right. So obviously, let's cover the three, right? So obviously, there is text, there is image, and then there is video. And obviously, there is
Mhm.
podcast, which is more audio, which is also equally powerful. But I think video gives you an authenticity, face recognition, which other mediums may lack in. Uh, there is also that feel of actually speaking to that person directly when you are seeing their video, right? And that's why we are more attracted to YouTube than a blog. So obviously, I think video is the most powerful of all the mediums that in which you can create content in. But then obviously there are some pros and cons to other formats also. Uh, what I've realized in my own journey is that no matter how much I tweet or how much I blog, as soon as I post a video, people come back and said, "Hey, I've seen this video and it was actually something that I could relate to." The same thing has not happened with other mediums that I have used. So I do feel that
Mm,
from anecdotal evidences of my own thing, and then obviously YouTube being such a huge platform, we can clearly see that there is huge value in video.
amazing. And you've got that experience where people recognize you, in a room, the people that you have never met, but they recognize you. So that's something that I would love to get to at some stage. I'm sure that's a nice feeling.
Uh,
And I guess just adding to that, yeah, sorry.
No, I was just saying that, right? Like, I've done very few videos. I have a modest, small YouTube channel, but even that has given me so much benefit in terms of brand recognition. I wasn't expecting that. It was a very pleasant surprise for
Right.
me.
Yeah, amazing. It's one of those things where, I mean, content in general, we don't realize the life, it has its life of its own. It's not like the 1 minute that you spend, maybe 1 minute video might live for a long time on the internet, and it might, speak to a lot of people that you never even think about. And so that's true. And so what I'm realizing is with video, if you can learn how to repurpose it correctly, then there's that added benefit, right? Because a video can be converted to a blog post very quickly. It can be converted to carousels if that's, something you want to do. Whereas it's not always possible in reverse. You can't just take a text and create a video like this out of it, or at least not yet. Maybe next wave of AI might change that. Amazing. So I think that's the why. Let's talk about the what. So I think a lot of business owners think about, again, think about doing video, think about doing content, and we get stuck with so many different uh, options of what to create. So there's the whole scripted aspect. Some people say document, don't create. I just want to hear from you, like how you think about the what type of content does well, or is something that business owners should be considering.
So let's say there are a few modes in which we can create content. One is I talk into a camera and share my journey, right? And I have done
Mm,
that on LinkedIn where I have just hit record, spoke about the wins and losses in a particular month, and then shared that this is what I'm doing, this is what I plan to do in the next 1 month. And that has its own authenticity, that has its own vulnerability, and that is also a powerful way of just being in front of people's mind. The other is this kind of a thing, right, where you're interacting with another person, trying to get their stories, and then uh, share something that other people may not know about. And this, I think, is a much better content because it is less monotonous. You are not just talking about yourself, but you are talking about some other person, and there is a give and take in this kind of an interaction, which I find much more valuable than just speaking into a camera solo. And then there is the animation or like filmmaking kind of videos where you tell a story where there's a lot of graphics to be shown and animations that happen where you are explaining a particular concept, and that has its own value, but it's a much higher skill set uh, that you need to actually achieve and create those videos. So I think every person should look at these three steps. You can obviously hit record and speak and tell your story. The list friction, something like this where you invite someone, there is a bit of friction but still doable, not much of post production in it. And then there is the huge post production thing where you are explaining concepts with a lot of graphics, animations, those kind of things, and I've stayed away from that so far just because I don't have enough time and energy to do that.
right. Okay. Amazing. And I guess this is why we're doing this interview one, because it was one of those things where, and even this one, I was like, hey, maybe I'll draft a script and I'll send it to you. We can brainstorm, we can ideate, and you're like, let's just record. I love that. So yeah, I appreciate that. So all right, so that's the what. I think there's different types of content. We can go deeper in that, but maybe for a future episode, perhaps. What I really want to unpack with you is the how, right? So I guess if you think about the workflow of at the end of the day, a YouTube channel will be a bunch of videos. So if we talk about at the unit level, there's this workflow of ideation, scripting, maybe even doing what I'm hearing now is doing the thumbnail and packaging, as what they call it, thumbnail, title, and hook before you record, right? And then you have the actual filming, and then you have post production. So you can take it at whichever level you like, but if we can start to really simplify this process, kind of like you have done for me. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. So you can take whichever angle you'd like. But yeah, if you can talk to us about the how of creating videos.
So the how actually starts very simple, but it becomes increasingly complex as soon as we go into the algorithm, the hooks, the kind of methodology behind it. And I have gone through that journey. My very first video was a very basic interview, something like this, which I
Mm,
recorded with a friend. And with zero post production, I just posted it just to get a feel and experience of the entire process. Uh, and looking back, it feels embarrassing, but I've not removed that video. I want it to be living on the internet just because I want to show a starting point for myself. Um,
nice.
and then the next video I took, and it was much better in terms of I was better prepared. I made my guest comfortable. So it is more about telling stories, right? The other one, there are other aspects to it which can be very superficial. But what matters
Mm,
more is the conversation. How easy it is, what value is getting generated in this conversation, and how much the audience loves it to hear. Do they persist through that
mm,
conversation at the end of it? And uh, I think the value will always lie there. But once that value is created in a conversation and the video is there, there is a whole lot of science and art that is there in bringing audience to that value, which is basically the algorithm that we have to play with, the thumbnails that we have to create, the description that we have to write, the tags that we have to create. And I think once we start going through this process, incrementally, every video you will learn something, and every video you will notice that this is something that I can change. Can I improve my graphic there? Can I change this thumbnail? Do I do A/B testing within two thumbnails and see what works better? Um,
mm,
and then every platform has their own rules, and it is important that we understand them and play within those boundaries, or at least try to maximize the things that they can offer us. So, for example, YouTube has its own way of promoting smaller channels. Now, what are those? If you're just starting, you have zero followers, zero content. How do you get to your first 100 views, first 1,000 views? Uh, and uh, and I think that will follow gradually. If you look at someone who is yet to upload their first video, my recommendation is hit record, post it, and experience the journey. The second video, make one improvement. It can be in the description. It can be in creating chapters. It can be in creating hashtags, those kind of things. And by the 10th video, I think you become very comfortable with the basics of the process. And by the
mm.
50th video, you don't need anyone else. You will just know the algorithm by that time by yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. There's a lot to unpack there, but I've got a personal question. So I've got a YouTube channel that I started, I think last year, right? And I've got a few videos on there, kind around exercise, so around kind of what I do. But then there's also maybe a couple of random ones. Would you recommend starting a brand new channel? Because I just realized over the weekend I can start new channels and rename them whenever I want. Or should I just use the one that I currently have? So what would be your thoughts on that?
Uh, I think it's a very personal choice. You know much more
Hmm.
context about the two channels and the pros and cons of continuing with the existing one and starting a new one. My recommendation is that every channel has a lot of overheads for maintenance. So it's better to
Mm,
just either say, I'm going to rename the existing channel and leverage all the
mm,
benefits that I have from there. And see, if you have to go back and delete a few videos, you can still do it, right? But the
yeah,
subscribers that you have got in your existing channel, those will be difficult for you to get in a brand new channel. The history of the
right.
existing channel will be difficult to replicate because you are starting a bit later. So whatever you
Yeah.
can kind of edit and change in your existing channel will have its own benefits. Now, uh, whether the audience that has subscribed to your existing channel is the right one or not, that you have to figure out. And as soon as you kind of change direction of a channel, which I've seen happen, the audience themselves figure out that, hey, this channel is no longer for me. I would rather unsubscribe. So you don't have to
Right.
take any action on that. Also, your audience will automatically gravitate, the right audience will gravitate towards your content, and the irrelevant one will move away. I
Good.
would say if you can repurpose your existing channel, that will be an easier thing to do.
I was just checking. So I've got 4 subscribers. So if I want
And
to carry all 4 of them forward,
you just have to call them and ask them to come to the new channel.
it might be mom and dad as well. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Perfect. So the other thing, speaking of stories, let's go back to the why, and I'd love to hear in your experience around how content has helped business owners. So I kind of know the answer to this because we spoke about it over the weekend, and so but I'd love to hear from you again, like where you've seen businesses truly benefiting, what they call content that converts, right? So actual real life value, not just clicks and subscribers and views. So could you speak to that a little bit, share that story?
Yeah. So, my first attempt at a YouTube channel was taking interviews of small business owners in Sydney, right? And I was doing it within the community. And the objective was very simple, that I want them to have some brand presence on the internet. I wanted to help their business be discoverable when someone searches for something or their service or their name. So my very first video was with a migration agent based in Sydney, and he had a website but zero videos on the internet. And we posted this video, and two weeks in, the video had like 16 or 20 views in total. But 2 weeks in, the friend called back and said, "Hey, I actually got one migration business lead from the video." I asked that person, "Hey, where did you discover me?" And he said, I was browsing, and on YouTube you came up, and I followed the interview, and I reached out."
Nice.
So, so that was a real case scenario where it was zero, like very low views, but even the
Yeah.
presence on the internet in a video format,
Mm.
where the person actually saw this friend beforehand talking about his profession, created that know, like, trust journey. And then that prompted this person to actually go and connect, right? So
Yeah.
so there was
Amazing.
that
That's so
real experience. And obviously there was this one video which kind of went viral in my own scale, where uh, where I have we recorded this video, and this person that I was interviewing, he has a business around food, like he imports Indian
mhm.
food into Sydney. And he posted this video on his Facebook, and this video crossed 11,000 views in total. And and that itself became such a viral thing for him, where he started getting inquiries of people willing to send products to him in Australia just because they have seen his video. So there were very two different scale of value that was generated for people who I have interviewed through this channel.
That's amazing. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. And that reminds me that, it speaks to the power of repurposing. So as we get to the end of this video, it's not just about hitting publish and then leaving it. It's about how do you then share and almost market the marketing, right? So the video is supposed to be marketing, but you have to market that video in order to get the reach. So amazing. Okay, so as we get to the pointy end, I'd love to hear your thoughts around what are some of the tech softwares or any sort of things that you think are up and coming that business owners should be looking at, because truthfully speaking there's so much out there, and so it becomes very overwhelming, right? So could you share some key ones that perhaps really make life easier?
I'll just speak to the ones that I have used. So for video recording, I've used Zoom when we were doing online interviews, and the video quality is good enough. You can use it and publish it. I think that is the recording part of it. And if you're doing in-person recording, you definitely need different softwares for it. But you can start with a basic camera uh, and normal videos. Just make sure the quality is around 4K, and then you that much or above. The audio needs to be better, so please test check this before you do long form interviews, so that you don't lose away audio and then realize it is not usable. Um, but I think the post production part is where most of us struggle, because there are so many softwares there, we don't have the skills. I think you can start simple with CapCut, where CapCut is free mostly. You can have some real good templates that you can use within the software, and then it's the learning curve is shorter. I think that's the easiest one to start with, but obviously you can graduate to other tools, and there are quite a few. Even I don't have the skills around them, so I think I will just name those two tools for recording video and post production.
Amazing. And I guess, I alluded to this earlier. The reason that I started this whole journey and what got me, I guess, across the line was this actual a comment that you made around using the webcams. So we were talking about, my workflow, and I was just ex basically ranting or explaining my frustrations around the fact that I use my phone to record and then I upload it to Google Photos and download it to laptop and so on and so forth. And you made the suggestion that why don't you invest in a nice webcam and record directly on the laptop, right? Which was That's not what I'm doing, but it was enough of a prompt to go, oh my God, I didn't think of recording using the laptop. So now I'm just using Descript, and we're doing this is my first time doing a long form proper interview, so hopefully this turns out okay. And Descript, as for those who don't know, is actually a video editing tool as well. And so basically, you can record in it, and then once we finish, it'll already do a transcript. And so I can edit my transcript, or I can add, can also add B-roll. I can cut out the filler words and all that kind of stuff. So I think, if we use the right tools, then hopefully this makes it a lot easier, and we can just focus on our genius, which is having good conversations with the right people, hopefully. So, wonderful. So, look, really appreciate your time. Any final thoughts, Kunal, before we wrap up?
Don't overthink this. Hit the record button and don't publish it. That's okay. Hit the record button, get out of your comfort zone to actually creating some content. And it's okay to publish because no one is going to see it. Uh, but then gradually build the confidence to do better and more content. But it's a journey worth going on. Start as soon as possible.
Yeah, amazing. I think that's really good advice. So on that note, we'll finish so people can start their journey now.
Thank you. Thanks for
Once again,
having
thank
me.
you so much. No worries.
Great speaking with you. See ya.
So yeah. Okay, so I've stopped recording now. Hey guys, thank you so much for sticking around right till the end of this first video. That is super exciting. The fact that you're hearing this right now means you've made it. So thank you so much. Now, I'm sharing the journey as I go, and one of the things they tell you is always leave with a call to action. And so I'm not going to ask you to like, subscribe, share this video because it's probably not even worth sharing right now. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Whether you thought there was something that was good, whether it was bad, whether it's lighting, whether it's sound, whether it's the content, whether it's the guy I brought on, tell me what you think. And so that will really help me as I go on to this journey on how I can improve. Because the idea is you want to become 1% better every time. But of course, I don't know what I don't know. So whether you leave a comment down below, that's probably the easiest thing to do. Or if you know me, you can reach out personally, DM me on LinkedIn, find me on Instagram, whatever you prefer. Or pop in. I'm in near Parramatta in Western Sydney. So anyway, so thank you so much for watching right till the end, and stay tuned. Hopefully, I'll have something similar like this coming up very shortly, but who knows? Until next time, take care.